Waving to his spectators from this car, a president would be shot and killed.
President's car is now turning onto Elm Street. Open limousine parade.
In an afternoon that changed the Secret Service and the presidential motorcade forever.
Ryan Guide in our newsroom. There has been an attempt, as perhaps you know now, on the life of President Kennedy. He was wounded in an automobile driving from Dallas Airport into downtown Dallas, along with Governor Connolly of Texas. They've been taken to Parkland Hospital there, where their condition is as yet unknown. We have not been told their condition.
During a time when American leaders had a knack for playing to a crowd, standing in open cars, waving to all sorts of gatherings, shaking many hands of onlookers and kissing babies on their foreheads, the president has ordered his security detail to take things a little bit easy on yet another challenging day. Any Secret Service agent's nightmare is the day when the president has a trip to make, as things are more than tense. But on this day in 1963, the charismatic John F. Kennedy wanted no pressure, as his then Secret Service agent Clint Hill narrates.
The president had instructed us not to be up on the back of the car. He wanted it not to appear there was anything between he and the people. He wanted the people to have the belief that he was just one of them.
On this less tense day for the motorcade in Dallas, a motivated killer is lurking in the most unsuspected buildings, and at his opportune moment, tragically cutting short JFK's life on 22nd November.
This was a real political trip. It was maximum exposure.
Shaking hands and kissing babies still plays a role in presidential politics even today. But a request for the Secret Service to back off like the one Kennedy made to his security detail in Dallas would not be granted. The catastrophe helped to expand the Secret Service budget, turning the 1865 founded organization into a well-oiled machine that meticulously plans every move and carefully documents all contingencies, even for short trips around Washington, D.C. Today, we will look at every advancement and secret of the most crucial parts of the US president's security, the motorcade, which has evolved into the nearly indestructible convoy it is today when a scene unfolds. Now, before anything, let's answer these three questions and get them out of the way. I'm sure that the third question will interest you the most. Question 1. Who was President JFK? Too obvious. Maybe yes, but I'm not sure for everyone.
There are many people in the world who really don't understand, or say they don't, what is the great issue.
President John F. Kennedy, often referred to as JFK, was the 35th President of the United States, serving from January 20th, 1961 until his untimely death in 1963. Before his presidency, JFK was a decorated World War II naval officer and a Massachusetts congressman and senator.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Known for his eloquent speeches and strong stance against communism, during his presidency, he introduced the concept of the New Frontier, which was a series of ambitious programs aimed at addressing domestic issues such as education, healthcare, and poverty, and advancing space exploration. A notable example of this was his challenge to his nation to land a man on the moon, which culminated in the Apollo 11 mission of 1969.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal.
JFK was also a strong advocate for civil rights. He supported the desegregation of the University of Mississippi and the University of Alabama. And he proposed comprehensive civil rights legislation that would later be passed as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that aimed to end discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin.
I am therefore asking the Congress to enact legislation giving all Americans the right to be served in facilities which are open to the public: hotels, restaurants, theaters, retail stores, and similar establishments. This seems to me to be an elementary right. Its denial is an arbitrary indignity.
Kennedy also established the Peace Corps in 1961, an organization that sends American volunteers abroad to work on various developmental projects, from education to health and agriculture. The Peace Corps aimed to promote world peace and friendship, and it continues to make significant contributions to global development and cross-cultural understanding today. For most Americans, home and abroad, JFK's presidency is remembered for its youthful energy, the pursuit of progressive policies, and a commitment to innovation and social justice. Question 2. Who assassinated JFK? On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was riding in a motorcade through Dealey Plaza. The president was in an open-top limousine accompanied by First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy, Texas Governor John Connally, and his wife Nell Connally. It was around 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time when the shots rang out, forever altering the course of American history. Lee Harvey Oswald, a former U.S. Marine and an employee at the Texas School Book Depository, was moments later confirmed to have fired the fatal shots from the 6th floor of the building using a 6.5mm Carcano rifle. Oswald had a clear line of sight of the presidential motorcade as it approached. The sequence of events unfolded quickly. The first shot missed the motorcade entirely. The second shot struck President Kennedy in the upper back, exited through his throat, and then hit Governor Connally, who was sitting in front of the president. The third and the final shot struck President Kennedy in the head, causing a catastrophic and fatal wound. Immediately after the shooting, President Kennedy was rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital, where, despite the efforts of the medical staff, he was pronounced dead just 30 minutes after the incident. News of his death stunned the nation and the world, triggering an outpouring of grief but disbelief at the same time. Eyewitnesses to the assassination including bystanders and those who were riding in the motorcade, were deeply impacted by the tragic events that unfolded before them. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested approximately 70 minutes after the assassination at the Texas Theater in Dallas. He was charged with the murder of President Kennedy and Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit, whom Oswald shot while fleeing the scene. Oswald's arrest did not provide closure to the nation, as just 2 days later, on November 24, 1963, he was shot and killed by nightclub owner Jack Ruby while being transferred from the city jail to the country jail. This shocking act of violence was broadcast live on television, further deepening the sense of national tragedy. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy and the subsequent events had a profound impact on American society and politics. The Warren Commission, established by President Lyndon B. Johnson, concluded in September 1964 that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in the assassination. However, this conclusion has been the subject of numerous debates and conspiracy theories over the years, contributing to the enduring fascination and controversy surrounding JFK's death. Question 3. What was the nature of JFK's car? The car that President Kennedy was riding in at the time of his assassination was a 1961 Lincoln Continental 4-door convertible, often referred to as the presidential limousine. This vehicle, which was specially modified for presidential use, held no special security features, according to the United States Secret Service website. The limousine included a series of removable steel and transparent plastic roof panels that could be installed in various combinations. It also contained a hydraulically operated seat, which could be raised 10.5 inches to give the gathered crowds a better view of President Kennedy and his fellow passengers. The most notable modification was the addition of a removable bubble top roof, allowing the car to be used as an open-top convertible for parades and public events, while protecting its passengers from tumultuous weather. However, on the day of the assassination, the bubble top was not in place, leaving the president and first lady exposed. For security purposes, the car was also equipped with several additional features. The body of the limousine was reinforced with armor plating to protect against bullets and other potential threats. The windows were made of thick bullet-resistant glass to shield the occupants from gunfire. Yet, despite these modifications, the fatal shot that struck President Kennedy in the head passed through the car's rear window, which was not bulletproof. Inside, the car was outfitted with plush, comfortable seating for the president and the first lady, to perhaps reflect the dignity and status of the most powerful office of the land. Despite these features, the car's open-top design made it vulnerable to attack, a vulnerability that would tragically be realized on that fateful day. The 1961 Lincoln Continental limousine used by President Kennedy remains one of the most iconic and tragic symbols of his presidency. Its modifications and historical significance continue to be studied and remembered as part of the broader narrative of JFK's presidency and his untimely death. Yet, wrapped in numerous unanswered questions and generational conspiracy theories, today, the Secret Service, officially named the Secret Service Presidential Protective Division, continues to shift into a more effective entity with massive budgets and improvements provided by state-of-the-art technological advancements and engineering. It would seem like the days of presidents riding in open cars waving to gathered crowds are largely behind us. Modern presidential vehicles are so heavily armored and well protected that President Barack Obama's limousine was famously nicknamed the Beast. Agents assigned to the presidential detail train regularly and extensively for all sorts of scenarios, and access to the president has become much more difficult for the average American. But if one wanted to dare to reach the president with a negative motive on the road, this is what he will have to plan through.